What's up, Men's Physique fans, and welcome back to another video. I have been getting the same question over and over again. What happened to Jeremy Buendia? Now, originally, I wasn't going to make this a separate video, but being there in person, seeing Jeremy Buendia take the stage for one last time, I think this deserves its own separate video. Now, this was not the best version of Jeremy Buendia, all right? And the reality is, this probably wasn't the way that he wanted to go out, but I will also say this, I don't want this last show to take away from the crazy and legendary career that he had. But speaking of this specific show, a few things were off. You know, even though I do think he was full, I almost think he was too full. And you can see that fullness coming in a little bit more of the midsection distension, and not necessarily from front to back, but more from side to side. He didn't have the taper that he traditionally has and that he just had at the Sasquatch show. I think from that show, he wanted to come in, of course, a little tighter, but mainly focused on bringing that maxed out full look, because I don't think he was as full as he wanted to be, at least based off of my assumption at the Sasquatch show. So I think he overdid it a little bit potentially with food, and maybe started to, again, not fully digest. And you saw that. Again, his waistline wasn't as emphasized, and the structure that we know Jeremy Buendia for having, which always allowed him to stand out, wasn't as exaggerated. And then we also saw a little bit of self-inflicting wounds, more specifically with the board short choice. And I think it's not necessarily the fitting, even though they were tight, and not necessarily the length, even though they were high. I think it was actually the color that contrasted with his skin, and it didn't create a flow. You know, it was actually a little bit more distracting from the crowd. And also, when it comes to the look in itself, I just think he didn't have that dry, separated midsection that we were hoping that he had. And even he showed he had a little bit more of at the Sasquatch show. But like I started off this video saying, Jeremy Buendia had one of the most legendary careers of all time in the men's physique division. He is the reason why I am likely even here talking to you guys today. He's the one who motivated me to get into men's physique, following him, his story, you know, all of the trials and tribulations, and then of course all of his successes. And even though that this show was not maybe a Kobe Bryant 60-point game while he went out, you know, seeing him take the stage, you know, it was humbling, and it was exciting for me as a fan, putting myself in that position. You know, like I said, this was not the best version of Jeremy Buendia, but it doesn't change the fact that he has proven this year that he can be in the conversation. He might not be the best in the world, but I also think that he can still be extremely competitive, and he did show that by even still not bringing his best look. But nonetheless, Jeremy Buendia will forever be a GOAT of the men's physique division. And as a fan, if Jeremy is ever watching this, brother, I appreciate everything that you've done, not only for me, but for the division that I love, brother.